Mm.
Hi all, good evening. It's Krishna Prasad from ISACA Trivandrum chapter, and this is our talk session for the month of July. And I would like to invite Amy. Amy, could you please share the word? Hello, Amy.
Yes, Krishna. Thank
Yeah.
you. Hello, everybody. Greetings from ISACA Trivandrum chapter, and we welcome you all to the July CPE session on DevOps roadmap for security and unifying security with DevOps. So from around the world, you have joined us today, and we are very, very glad to see you all here. Hope you all are doing well. So welcome to the session, and I would like to introduce our special speaker for today, Khwaja Imran Mohammed. Can I ask everybody else to go on mute, please? Otherwise it will keep resonating. Thank you. Okay, so today we have with us Khwaja Imran Mohammed. He is a security specialist and a technology leader with nearly 15 years, not nearly, but over 15 years of experience in various industries. He is mainly experienced in IT infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, and he is an advocate for DevOps and security. So he is currently working for fintech industry as an engineering manager, DevOps and site reliability in DevOps and site reliability. I do not want to go more into the details of today's topic, because this is an area where we are, as security professionals, we all know the basics. But today we are going to hear from an expert in technology and in security. So Khwaja, welcome, and thank you for taking our accepting our invite and taking our time. We know that because of the time differences, this might not be a convenient time for you, but thank you for taking the time out for us. Over to you, Khwaja, for today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, and thank you, Krishna, for providing me this opportunity to speak, this evening. Let me share my screen, Yeah, just give me a minute. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Khwaja, we can.
Yes.
And you're able to hear my sound loud and clear, right, everyone?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, yeah, let's kick in. Yeah. Today, my name is Khwaja Imran Mohammed. I go by Imran. That's much easier for everyone to pronounce. Sometimes people pronounce my name wrong, so I just go with Imran. That's easier for everyone. Okay, and today's topic is about. I'm going to talk about Devsecops. Basically, you have been most of you have been hearing this word for a very, very long time. You also have heard about DevOps as well, but again, you must be thinking, what is Devsecops? Okay, so I'm going to discuss about Devsecops and how DevOps maps with security and how we can unify security with DevOps. Okay, so let's quickly start. I will give a little bit background about myself. And I'm currently working with National Australia Bank as the engineering manager for DevOps and site reliability engineering. I have close to like 20 years of experience in technology space. I started back in 2002. And I have worked in vast areas of technology, right from databases, Unix, Linux, and a lot of heterogeneous systems as well. And I also moved on to management and worked. I managed large teams and across multiple regions, time zones, and managed $1 million projects basically. And currently I'm working as an engineering manager, but since I work in financial industry and working in a large bank in Australia, so the main emphasis is on securing the applications and the applications which meet the regulatory requirements of Australian financial regulators. And I also specialize on APRA CPS 234, which is the Information Security Compliance Program for Australian financial industry. And yeah, that's pretty much high level about the job I currently do. But my previous roles have been like, I started off as a system admin, Linux and Unix. I have been a Linux and Unix guy for a very, very long time. And I was an Oracle DBA as well. And then moved on to management. I was a DBA manager. I was a project manager. Then moved into infrastructure area where I was managing large infrastructure teams. And slowly I have always been a sort of, on-prem infra guy, basically, managing data centers and other stuff. But slowly when the cloud waves picked up, so I slowly moved on to, I picked it up and basically took up AWS and as my specialization, and and currently where I am today. And coming to my qualifications, I have an MBA and a master's in IT, and also did my bachelor's in maths and computers. And I have some industry certifications, like I have some ISACA certs, basically. Since I work in a bank, some of these things are important. I have a CISM and CRISC and CSAR. And coming to the project management, I am a PMP as well, and I am a certified TOGAF architect. And I also did a couple of technical certs like RHC back in 2006, and also specialized in, I have all the certifications in AWS, mostly solutions architect and DevOps engineer professional. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much about me. But yeah, let's crack in. Okay. Yeah, and just a little disclaimer. Today I'll be listing a lot of tools here which are used by most DevOps and Devsecops engineers, and also mostly by the cloud engineers. Although I don't endorse or recommend any of these tools, because as IT professionals and security professionals, you always need to be basically, vendor neutral. Basically, it's all about promoting tools which are best for the business, and the tools which align with business needs and which bring value to the organization. Okay, so I don't endorse any brands, and I'm not doing any marketing pitch here. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the topic. Okay, and also I'll be showing some case studies. Those are just examples. Yeah, before implementing any of it, just try to validate it, because every environment is different. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, so you might be seeing all these words here. What is DevOps? What is Agile? And what is CI? And what is CD? And what is cloud native apps? And all these stuff. So if you are from DevOps or a cloud engineering background, you will definitely know this, and you might be dealing with these on day-to-day basis. But if you are a security professional, for many security professionals who don't interact with development teams, many of these terms are like new. I don't say that you don't know it, but yeah, if you are from a GRC background, you may not know it. Okay, so there are a lot of non-technical aspects in security as well. So as nowadays, as security more closely integrates with development teams and processes, it is more important for security professionals to learn the language of the basically the customer or the stakeholders, if all these things are in your organization. Okay, in reality, security has to basically bend to the processes and tools of the development teams to be successful. and basically not the other way around. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Yeah, here comes our topic. Okay, Devsecops. Okay, when this word comes, basically people will be thinking, what is Devsecops and what does it do, and how does it work, and what are the phases of Devsecops, and how is it different from DevOps, basically, and is it agile? Okay, what sort of whether it is waterfall or agile. So we are going to discuss all of it. I am also going to show how do we integrate security with the DevOps pipelines, basically, and also I will also discuss some tools of the trade, basically, some tools and some of the applications we use to integrate security with the DevOps, and also some case study examples, just like high level. Okay, and let's, yeah. So even before talking about Devsecops, I just want to tell a little bit high level about DevOps. Basically, what is DevOps first? Okay, DevOps is basically a process that enables the collaboration between the development and the ops team during the entire software development life cycle. Okay, basically the dev team and the ops team, they work in tandem, and basically the benefits of DevOps can extend to security by taking up by embracing modern security DevOps practices. Okay, and coming to the Devsecops, the topic of the day, the Devsecops is basically a seamless integration of security testing and protection throughout the SDLC and just like similar to DevOps, Devsecops is much about culture and also a shared responsibility. People think that Devsecops and DevOps is a framework. It's not a framework. It's basically a mindset and the culture. You know, the culture you spread throughout the organization. Okay, and also like DevOps, the goals of DevOps are to release better software faster, and to detect and respond to software flaws or security vulnerabilities in production faster with more efficiency. Okay, and so we are talking so much about Devsecops, but what value does it bring to the organization? Okay, it basically brings automation to security, and it also offers faster feedback. Basically, the developers can get feedback to the code they write. You know, when they are doing testing and other stuff, they can get the feedback quickly from their stakeholders, whether it can be a technical stakeholder or whether it can be even from the business. You know, because nowadays even businesses working closely with the security and the development teams. Okay, and you can also use tools to overcome limited human knowledge, and tooling is one of the most important factor. Okay, it doesn't have to be $1 million tool. You can also use a lot of open source tools which are available for free, but you should be mindful that while selecting those open source tools. Okay, and the fourth biggest benefit is it gives a continuous feedback and not one-time review before the release. That is the beauty of the CI/CD and other stuff, right? So and also nowadays, you know, most of these applications are made up of open source software. So it basically, because of these open source software, it basically has a sort of potential to introduce some issues relating to security vulnerabilities and license compliance issues. Okay, that is where Devsecops comes in picture. Basically, you can avoid all this at the beginning of the build cycle. You can do it during the planning phase. Okay, and I will also explain a little bit about this picture here. Okay, there is a development team, the operations team, and the security team. Okay, everyone has their own job. Okay, the job of a development team is to basically publish, release software releases and updates. Okay, and there is operations team, okay, which takes care of the reliability, performance, and scaling. And nowadays, also operations has got a sort of jazzier name. They also call it the site reliability engineering. Okay, site reliability engineering is a concept developed by Google to run their production systems. Okay, so it's the same, but just that SRE basically complements DevOps and DevSecops. Okay, and people think that SRE is only for DevOps, but it's not. It also does a lot of security related stuff as well. Okay, and coming to the security, I don't have to tell what security means. Most of you guys are security guys, and security people's main responsibility is to basically take care of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the systems and the organization, basically. Okay, these are the three departments, but again, these are basically integrated through these three new pillars here. One is the skill, culture, and tooling. Culture is the top one, I will say. I will say a culture plays a major role, okay, in moving an organization to next level. Okay, so what does this do? Okay, so I just I had to keep this culture on the top, but I didn't do that. But let's do this. So culture, basically, how do you do it? Basically, creating security as a code. Culture, basically, you promote secure coding practices. That is how you basically embed in the culture. And when it comes to tools, you basically integrate security via tools. Okay, you have a lot of these open source tools, and also some of the tools are from very reputed companies. You can use any of it, and also promote skilling. Basically, you know, nowadays most of these roles you do, you know, with the advent of DevOps, most of these roles are not like, you know, if you're a developer, you don't do a development job anymore. You basically need to do the operations job as well. Okay, basically you also do a little bit of security as well. Most of these roles have become hybrid roles with the advent of DevOps. Mostly a DevOps or a DevSecops engineer, they also coding as well as take care of the infrastructure aspects, and they also take care of the operational aspects. They also take care of the uptime of the systems. And whenever, although they don't functionally work as high-end sophisticated security teams like red teams or blue teams, but they know the know-how of security. And so that it has become hybrid nowadays. So cross-skilling plays a major role. And basically, cross-skilling helps, basically, because if someone goes on leave, you have someone to take care. Okay, so it basically avoids single point of failure, you know. It also eliminates the key man risk. Okay, so that is the greatest benefit of promoting cross-skilling. Okay, sometimes, you know, there is a lot of control in one person's hand. I have seen in my job itself, basically in my previous organizations, there are engineers who have too much of knowledge. They did not basically document it. They did not share it with anyone. You don't want to have that sort of key man risk. Okay, cross-skilling basically helps. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, so in continuation to our first slide, so in DevOps, basically there are DevSecops, there are basically 5 aspects which makes DevSecops very successful. First is awareness. Okay, build a sort of collaborative culture, and the teams cannot work in silos. Okay, if there is silos, it can you can't have a successful DevOps or DevSecops program. Okay, so always build a collaborative culture. You basically, as as senior leaders or even technology managers, you basically need to promote that collaborative and drive the change in the organization. Okay, and also integrate. The second thing is, and you need to integrate the security in the development process at the very beginning. Okay, so I will talk about IDE plugins and pre-hooks in later slides, but yeah, I will provide you all it. But yeah, you need to promote all these things here. You need to promote all these things and automate. Okay, you need to automate security in your CI/CD pipelines. I think if you are a DevOps engineer, you know what is CI/CD. Okay, but I will explain what is CI/CD in the next slide. Okay, basically you have tools like Jenkins or Harness or Bamboo Bamboo pipelines. Basically, these are all CI/CD tools. Okay, and also protect. Okay, you can also prevent attacks from happening at runtime. Okay, if these DevSecOps teams are there, if you build up a sort of collaborative culture, basically these development teams can basically work with red teams and blue teams to protect our infra, apps, and also the organization itself. Okay, and also monitoring. Monitoring is the key here. You need to do all these DAS scans, SAS scans, and SCAs, and basically do some vulnerability assessments, penetration testing. To enable that, you need to continuously monitor, basically using different tools. You know, there are a lot of tools in the market. I will just, one of my favorite tool is ELK because it is largely open source, but again, there are other open source tools like Nagios and other stuff, which are very less expensive than other tools, which I don't want to tell now. So you can figure it out in the next slides. Okay, and security is not like one size fit all. Basically, security differs from organization to organization. Basically, every organization is different. You can't have a security for a financial company in some retail firm. Retail firm is different, financial firm is different, manufacturing is different, every industry is different. So security is not one size fit all. Okay, so it needs to be tweaked as per the application or infra ecosystem and also the team. Okay, and there is also a famous saying in security fraternity. Okay, security must be baked in and not bolted on. It basically fits well with the DevSecOps practice. So I will also tell you how it fits well with DevSecOps, because you basically, for example, if an infrastructure is there, if you want to protect that infra from something, you just install a firewall or a WAF or something. But in DevSecOps culture, basically you can build these things from the very beginning, from the planning phase, while you're developing the code. Nowadays, everything is infrastructure as a code. You use Terraform, or even a cloud formation template to write a code which is infrastructure as a code. You can embed security there itself. Okay, and you can also do SAST and DAS scans before it goes into prod and other stuff. So that's why this saying very well implies here. Okay, and also organizations should introduce security at the source. I will also give you an example here. It can be done by automating vulnerability detection in DevOps environment and introduce security controls in the operating system, images, and also AMIs. If you are a DevOps or a cloud engineer, you know what is AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Mission Images, or even Azure VMs. You can embed security there itself so that you don't have any vulnerabilities in the later stage, you know. And you also need to patch your systems very regularly to meet your company image security standards, or the if you have a basically like a image team or something, because in big financial organizations these things are very important. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, since we are talking about DevOps and DevSecOps, we'll talk a little bit about waterfall and agile development methodologies. Okay, so there are these two methodologies. One is waterfall and agile. Everyone knows what is waterfall. It has been there since even before I was born. So it's there since 1970s. So, and it is very popular development methodology, and it is still used by some organizations, but agile has taken it over. But agile basically started somewhere around 2000 2001 with the advent of this internet companies, big internet companies like Google and Yahoo and all these people, and basically, and also with cloud computing, which has come into prominence. From that time, all these things picked up. Agile is the happening thing now, and you must have also seen, for example, if you have seen this diagram, okay, when it comes to these phases, okay, the phases also looks very similar. Okay, the analyze phase, the plan phase, design phase, you have the same stuff in agile as well. Okay, the sub phases are generally the same, but there is a little difference. Okay, in waterfall model, there is one single end-to-end process phase. Okay, in waterfall. Okay, but in agile, you have these smaller phases called sprints. If you are a DevOps engineer or a cloud engineer, you know what is sprint. So I'm not going to explain what it is. But I also need to emphasize something, because there are some pros and cons to it as well. Okay, in waterfall, you have a defined approach. Okay, and for example, you talk to your stakeholder. Your stakeholder says you have to deliver this application or implement this stuff. It happens. Okay, but when it comes to the agile, the sprint approach, there are a little bit things which you also need to take care of. Sometimes, most of the times, I won't say sometimes, but most of the times, all requirements are known upfront. Okay, and also if you know the requirements will change very quickly, because when you're interacting with the stakeholders or with the users or even with the business stakeholders, okay, the requirements can change very often. So that is also one drawback, because sometimes you don't know what's happening. So some of the technology requirements keep changing. So that also plays a major role. Okay, and yeah, and also agile can only succeed and be efficient if the automation is used between all these steps. You have all these steps here, the plan, analyze, deploy, and all the stuff. There should be some automation. Okay, so to facilitate this automation, you have this CI/CD process here. Okay, and with the advent of agile, it has become like an industry nowadays. You might have seen agile certifications being promoted by different companies. You have SAF, you have Scrum Alliance, you have whatnot. There are different companies promoting their certifications. It has become like an industry, promoting certifications and trainings and other stuff. Okay, and coming to the CI/CD. Okay, I will tell you what is CI and what is CD. Okay, CI stands for continuous integration. Continuous integration is a process that automates the development process of build and test, adding new functionalities and small improvements. Okay, and whereas CD also known as continuous deployment, is a process that enables engineers to quickly and easily push new functionalities, often one module at a time on prod systems without these big monolithic releases and also system downtimes. Okay, and you might have at the bottom of this image, you might have also seen Jenkins, Hudson, Bamboo, and all these Chef, Puppet, and Ansible. So Jenkins, Hudson, and Bamboo are very popular CI tools, continuous improvement tools. And nowadays, you also have CI/CD, SaaS-based CI/CD tools like Harness and other things. I think some organizations are already using it. And also, when it comes to the CD tools, the continuous deployment tools, you might have worked on Chef, Puppet, and Ansible. And also there is another tool called Salt Stack. Okay, these are all popular tools, you know. And also with the DevOps itself, basically DevOps integrates security into CI/CD processes, basically removing the manual process and enable CI, enable continuous deployments. Basically, as most organizations mature towards DevOps, there are some significant changes that basically changes they undergo to make the successful transition. Okay, and okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, why do we need DevSecOps? Okay, and as IT professionals, basically, and also security professionals as well, there are a lot of InfoSec professionals in this group now. So our main goal is to basically ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our technology environments. And here is why we need a DevOps. Basically, you know, basically DevOps moves at a rapid pace, and sometimes traditional security just can't keep up. Basically, you know, most of the security guys, especially in governance and compliance, they are stuck with their paperwork. They are doing, they are basically documenting all the risks and other things, how to remediate it, how to fix all these risks and other stuff. So basically, the traditional security just can't cope up with that. Basically, that's where the DevSecOps comes in. Okay, DevSecOps basically makes it easier to manage rapid pace of development and large-scale secure deployments. Basically, it is done since DevSecOps is because you secure the system at the very beginning when it is being built. So that's where it helps, you know. And DevSecOps also allows for much smoother scaling of process, and security as part of the process is to only way to ensure security as well. Okay, and yeah, just as I said before, security should be baked in, not bolted on later. So all these things, that's why we need DevSecOps. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, bridging the divide with DevSecOps. How do we bridge it? Okay, so when you are introducing or implementing DevSecOps, it's basically not a framework. Okay, as I said before, it's just a mindset. Okay, it's all about how you think, how you basically drive the change. You know, that's the important thing. Yeah, and it is a cultural and operational change, which can be introduced only through security trainings and tooling, and also the resources. You know, if you, and all these things is the responsibility of the leadership. Basically, if a technology manager comes and says that I want to implement DevSecOps, basically he can't do if there is no support from the leadership. So yeah, leadership plays a major role. Okay, And also there are these three teams which play a major role as well. One is the compliance team, one is the security team, and one is the development and infrastructure team. Okay, which is also known as DevOps. Okay, and compliance team can automate policy checks earlier in the SDLC and gain better visibility in the CI/CD pipeline and entire cloud footprint. Okay, this can be done by using tools. There are a lot of tools in the market nowadays. I have used a couple of tools like Chef Inspect and Puppet Apply. So those help in that process. Okay, and also security teams. Security team can basically protect critical cloud resources from data breaches by eliminating misconfigurations prior to provisioning. Okay, security teams. There are a lot of tools even for security teams. You know, like you have like these SAS scanners, like the check marks and Nexus, and you also have a lot of these SCA tools and other things. So I will discuss those about those tools in the next coming slides. Okay, and also the dev and infrastructure teams, which also known as DevOps teams, can move faster by identifying and fixing security problems earlier in the SDLC process. Okay, that is by implementing security certs and other stuff. Okay, and also by implementing security at infrastructure at code level. Okay, I will discuss about that more detail in the next slides. Okay, and yeah, there is another important person which comes here. You might have heard about this. Basically, if you are a governance or a risk and compliance guys, basically, you know, these security champions. You know, basically you nominate these security champions everywhere, so that, you know, to spread the security awareness and other things. The same thing applies in DevSecOps as well. Okay, you need to have some sort of gatekeeper in every team. Okay, that is one good practice. Okay, just like a, you know, normally in ITIL practice you have this CAB. Just like that CAB, you know, in CAB you have these change managers, incident managers, just like that you need to have, but those are like actual titles. But change champion is security champion is not a title, but it's like, you know, it's an ad hoc role basically given to someone like a technical lead or even a developer can become a security champion. So there should be a nominated security champion in every team, in a development team, in a QA team, and an infra team. Basically, if you have a security champion in a development team, they will lead with the implementation and usage in the team of like SAS scanners and the SCA tools. Basically, if you are using a SAS scanner to discover security flaws in a security code, and SCA tool for visibility in the open source dependencies. Most of these open source tools have some issues with the licensing and other stuff, and also the vulnerabilities. So that's where these security champion for development team comes in picture, and that helps. And QA team security champion will implement DAST as part of the automated QA cycles. Okay, I did not mention here about the infra security champion, but if you have infra team security champion, basically that person will be talking to the team about the security at infrastructure as a code level, and also he will be talking about implementing security certs at the very beginning, you know, because you don't want the security certs to fail and the application goes down. You know, you don't want those things to happen in prod. So that's where these security champions come. Okay, and other aspects on how you can bridge the divide with DevSecOps. Okay, security as integral part of the process. Okay, security should be like, you know, on top of your head, basically top of everyone's mind. Then only it should be integral part of the process. Basically, everyone should be like security smart. When a developer is writing some code or something, he should be basically always be thinking that I should be writing a secure I should be making a secure application, so I should be coding by using some secure coding practices. Okay, and that can be done by using some IDE tools, IDE plugins, and also pre-commit hooks and all these sort of things. Okay, and easy and also the data should be easily accessible. That can be again used by dedicated IDE plugins. I will talk about IDE plugins in the coming slides. Okay, there is a dedicated slide for that. And automated governance. Okay, governance is a bit of a cumbersome process. I think most of the GRC guys here will can talk a lot about it. Okay, so if you are doing those stuff, you are just simply wasting your time if you're doing some manual checks and other stuff. Instead, you keep some security checkpoints, and you can also automate this stuff using various DevOps tools like Chef Inspect and Puppet Comply. All these tools basically help us in auditing and automated governance. Basically, all these tools help us in that. And also, there are some simple practices which you can use, like notification of security or compliance violation using emails. Just simply keep a sort of alert or some sort of Slack message and other stuff. You can also do that. And also some simple things like blocking of downloads. Basically, you can blacklist or whitelist some of these sites where some of the users will be downloading some of the softwares and other stuff. And failing of builds that depend on vulnerability components are failing to comply with licensing policies, and also prevention of deployment of vulnerable release bundles. The log4j stuff. So log4j is one big example of it. Okay, and yeah, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, cultural aspects. I have been whinging about cultural aspects since from the beginning. Okay, it is the main thing is culture here. Okay, it's as I told, Devsecops is not a framework. Okay, it's all the state of mind, and it should be promoted at a team level. It can be done only through promoting collaborative culture, implementing automation tools, monitoring tools, and all these things. Okay, and automation alone will not solve these problems. First thing, okay, and focus on collaboration and inclusive culture, and encourage security mindset, specifically if it is outside security team. That's where these security champions come in picture. Okay, and also use all these security awareness posters and other stuff, and also send weekly or fortnightly emails to promote security mindset in your organization or in your business units. Okay, and yeah, build allies, security champions again. Build allies in the company. If you have like around a lot of teams, just nominate one person as a security champion. That will take you, that will save a lot of time. Basically, you don't have to do a lot of work telling people how you do it. Okay, and avoid blame game. Okay, the DevOps culture itself, basically, we don't have a blame game culture in DevOps. Okay, even if a system goes down, basically you are not going to finger point a person saying that why the system went down. It's all about basically making sure that that system should not go down next time. Basically, you do post-mortem review after an incident, and basically sort of root cause analysis. You have the root cause analysis in ITIL, but when it comes to DevOps and SRE practices, you have this post-mortem thing, and you do the post-mortem, and you keep a fix as well. You fix that thing. Again, Please note, this is just a tip of the iceberg, and basically we have a lot of things to say, but these are the 5 things which are which contribute to the cultural aspect of Devsecops. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, I was talking about these security champions. Okay, what do these security champions do? Basically, they bridge the gap between the DevSec and ops teams. And how do you build a security champion? Basically, single person. You nominate one person per team, and everyone provided with similar cross-skilling opportunities. Okay. Anyways, the technical people will know technical, and they can pick up technical stuff. Even in the business teams, you need to promote this cross-skilling part. Just pick up some person who is a little bit tech savvy and train them. So it's a bit of an opportunity for them to learn as well. And also, how do you build this thing? Basically, you also need to incentivize your team. Basically, just give them some sort of reward to collaborate with the security team through internal bug bounties and sponsorship interactions like parties, get-togethers, and sponsor cross-skilling for other teams. Basically, okay. Development team can work with the business and learn some how the business works. Even most tech guys, they think that business it's just admin job, but it's not like that. You are there because that business is there. If you are a technology company, it's a different thing. But if you are working for a bank or a retail, since that business is happening, they are paying you for that. So it is better you learn the business as well. You should understand how the business should work. It's not the other way around. Okay. Yeah. And let's go to the next slide. Okay. Security enablers. Okay. I don't have to tell you a lot about it because most of you are security guys anyways, irrespective of what the background you come from, whether you're a governance person, GRC person, or even a technical guy in security like a red teamer or a blue teamer, or even a security engineering person. So the 3 pillars of cybersecurity or information security is first is people, process, and technology. These are the 3 things basically keeps a security program successful. Okay, and people first. People basically help you in building the process, building the relationship between the teams, and also they don't isolate. If you have people, basically they build that relationship, and the teams you don't have the silos there. Okay, and identify and nurture security conscious individuals, and empowered development ops teams to deliver better and faster and secure instead of blocking, and focus on solutions instead of blaming. As I said before, the blaming culture should go. Okay, and process. Okay, process is the key. When it comes to process, you have all these procedures, standard operating procedures, processes, all these, if you are a governance or a risk guy or a compliance guy, you have all these processes and a lot of these acceptable guidelines and other stuff. Okay, some of the things are not coming to my mind, but there are a lot of, when I was studying CISM, I have gone through all of it. There are a lot of these guidelines and other stuff. So that is where the process comes in. Okay, involve security from get-go, design to ideation phase, and fix by priority. Don't attempt to fix it all at one time. Okay, you have to prioritize stuff. Okay, and security controls must be programmable and automated wherever, and DevOps feedback process must be smooth and governed. Okay, and third is technology. Okay, always templatize the scripts, tools, per language and platform. This one is, I'll give you an example of it. For example, if you are building a code, if you're building an application, or even spinning up a server through a template, Terraform or a CloudFormation template, you basically set up a standard template for this, and also implement tools, security controls at that spot itself. Basically, you don't go till the end and do it. You fix it up at Terraform and cloud formation template level itself. Okay, and adopt security to DevOps flows. Don't expect others to adopt security for you, and keep an eye out for simpler and better options, and be pragmatic to test and use new tools. Okay, and since the technology is changing every day and there are a lot of new tools in the market, you can always always use those tools and adopt it. First test it in the test environment and do it in prod. Okay, so you don't want to blow up your prod application. Okay, yeah, let's go to the next slide. Okay, how do we do DevOps? Okay, Devsecops. Devsecops is basically a combination of automation plus cultural change. I have been telling this cultural change for a long time, but automation also plays a major role here. Okay, and integrate security in your DevOps pipeline, that is in the CI/CD pipeline, and enable cultural change to embrace DevOps. Basically, you need to promote this in your organization and at the business unit level, and also at the team level. Okay, and I will. This is just a small diagram, diagram which explains on how you inject security in DevOps. How do you do it? So, for example, at development level, you implement these type of security controls like pre-commit hooks and IDE plugins, and also at code repository level, you do secret management. You can use these tools like HashiCorp Vault and CyberArk, basically for secret management and also for password management. These are like password saves, And at CI/CD server level, 1 minute. What did I do? Okay, at CI/CD server level, that is the pre-build and post-build. In pre-build, you have these SAS scans and SCA scans, and at post-build, you have this DAST. I will explain about this in the later slides. I have some. I have kept special slides for them, so I will get into more detail there. And artifact repository, you can use tools like Artifactory, JFrog Artifactory to build artifacts and versioning against code commits. And also QA and staging. Basically, you can enable manual web application penetration testing and business logic testing, and you can identify the flaws there. And in production, it is always you implement security at infrastructure as code level, and after that you also run compliance as code. You can use these tools like Chef Inspect and Puppet Comply, and also alerting and monitoring. You have a lot of these tools in the market nowadays, like Splunk, New Relic, App Dynamics, and all these things. And you also have a lot of these open source tools you can basically tweak, like ELK and also Nagios and other stuff. And all these 4 are part of the vulnerability management. Okay, and I think I don't have to explain what vulnerability management is to you. Basically, you all are security guys, and how important it is, okay, as part of the security lifecycle. Okay, and again, I have a separate slide for vulnerability management. I will explain you more about it in a minute. Okay, and coming to I will, in this slide, I will just give you a little differentiation between the DevOps pipeline and the Devsecops pipeline here. Okay, for example, you have the DevOps pipeline here. You don't see any security here. Okay, but when it comes to Dev, DevSecOps pipeline, you have these SAS scan here. You have this dash scan here, and you have the infrastructure scan, and you also have the WAF deployed after the production is done. Okay, it's basically, typically they are both the same, just that the DevOps and SecOps are almost the same in terms of the phases. You have the plan, code, build, test and release and deploy phases. But in DevSecOps, there are some certain security controls are applied. Checks are applied in each phase of the DevOps pipeline. This is where it is. For example, just in this stage, you just check this SAS control here, and you have the dash scan here, and you have this infrastructure scan here just before it goes into prod, and you also have this compliance scan here. All these things come into picture. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, I will provide you the slide after this webinar, so you can go through it. Okay, and going to the next slide. Okay, this is how a DevSecOps tech stack looks like. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything, but you have the plan and build, deploy, plan and develop. Basically, these tools, I don't want to explain what is GitHub and what is GitLab is. Basically, these are all version control tools, and Maven is Maven, Ant, and Gradle are used for building the app. And you have Cucumber and JUnit. I only worked on these two, so it's used for testing and for securing. Basically, you have all these tools like Qualys, Twistlock, and all these things. And OWASP is very important. You have these OWASP top 10. Basically, they govern the application security, basically. And you have tools like Artifactory to store the artifacts, and Nexus and Maven also has it. And for deploy and operate purposes, you have Puppet, SaltStack, Ansible, and Chef. And for monitoring, as I said before, you have Splunk, New Relic, Nagios, and you also have this App Dynamics and other stuff. And for scaling, you have Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud are just some, but you also have a lot of other clouds like Alibaba Cloud and other stuff, right? So yeah, there are a lot of clouds in the market, and you also have this container platforms like Kubernetes and Docker, and even these cloud providers have their own Kubernetes platform, like EKS, like the Elastic Kubernetes service for AWS, and for Azure has its Azure Kubernetes service, AKS, and all these things basically come and integrate with these things, where basically the CI/CD orchestration, Jenkins, that is Jenkins, and you also have other tools like Harness and Bamboo, and these are all CI/CD tools. Okay, this is just like a high level. Okay, how to accelerate usage? Okay, there are many considerations in how you accelerate usage of security with DevOps. Okay, here are some of them. Basically, security built into the foundation layer, and security as code, security delivered as a service, and integration with DevOps tools and processes. And same security tools should be used for both development and prod. You don't use one security tool for development and one security tool for prod. Okay, and same security tools should be across all the environments, like not the environments, all the platforms like cloud or on-prem or hybrid platforms, basically. Okay, and same security tools for operational and compliance audit findings. So like you can use tools like, again, Chef, Inspect, and Puppet Comply. Okay, and that's an interesting concept called shifting left in DevSecOps. Okay, what is shift left. Okay, shift left is being used by software development teams to improve the quality in most in these development projects. Basically, the good thing is that shift left is an agile development concept. Basically, agile shows that by creating multiple sprints throughout the development process, such that more is done earlier in the process. Okay, basically, you do more earlier, where it is cheaper plus more effective, and continuous development and testing and feedback loops to improve, wherein the developer gets feedback instantly, so that the code can be fixed on the go. Okay, and these are some benefits of shifting left. Okay, shifting left align well with the agile development, basically, and also shifting left saves cost and time. Okay, and basically security checks tightly integrate in the SDLC, and also test early and often, and automate remediation of most easily achieved of a set of items and tasks. Okay, and improve efficiency and productivity. Okay. Okay. How does this apply? How do you apply shift left to the security? Okay. Once the application, basically, you can see here in this diagram, once the application is running in prod or stage environment, it is common for a penetration test to be scheduled, basically. And imagine a scenario where a production application is tested and a high-risk vulnerability like a SQL injection is discovered. I'm just giving SQL injection, but you can also use, there can be other vulnerabilities like cross-site scripting or something like that is discovered. Just in such a case, the team will require to rerun the entire DevOps pipeline in order to fix this one vulnerability. Okay, and it's basically a time-consuming process, and clearly not an ideal way to deal with the issue. Okay, so that is where the shift left process comes in picture. Okay, basically, so what if we bring security a little closer to the development cycle by embedding security testing with the DevOps pipeline? For instance, the SQL injection could have been easily discovered at an early stage with the help of a source code scanner. You have all these SAS scanners, basically, and it can be fixed even before packaging the artifact in the artifactory. Yeah, here is one diagram of it. Okay, and this is shift left in the development container. This is just like a high-level diagram. Okay, and okay, security related techniques and practices. Okay, as most of you are security professionals here, you must be aware of this SAS, DAST, and RASP, and all these things. So I'm going to discuss about it in the coming slides. Okay, I have dedicated slides for this, so I'll go through it one by one. Okay. Okay. SAST. SAST, as most of you know, it is also a white box. It is also called white box testing. It's basically a testing methodology that scans and analyzes application source code, binaries and bytecodes, basically, to find security vulnerabilities that make your application vulnerable to attacks. Basically, it identifies the root cause of vulnerabilities and helps remediate it, remediate the underlying security flaws, basically. Okay, and SAST solutions basically analyze an application from the inside out, and they don't need a running system to perform a scan. Okay, And coming to the DAST, okay, DAST is also known as dynamic application security, and in other ways it's also called black box testing. Okay, it's basically a testing methodology that scans and analyzes a web application through the front end to find vulnerabilities through stimulated attacks, basically. And this type of approach basically evaluates the application from the outside in by attacking an application like a malicious user would do. And after the DAS scanner performs these attacks, it looks for results that are not part of the expected result set, and identifies the security vulnerabilities. Okay, and it can be also performed on RPC and SIP and so on, non-web application protocols. Okay, and another is IAST. Basically, it's also called interactive application security. I haven't worked on it before, but I will just tell you what it is. Basically, it's a security methodology that basically scans, analyzes, and manages security risks associated with vulnerabilities discovered in running web applications using dynamic testing, and also it is often referred to as runtime testing. Okay, so if you are from a QA team, maybe you should be aware of it. Okay, and another is RASP, also called as Runtime Application Security Protection. Basically, RASP lets an app run continuous security checks on itself and respond to live attacks by terminating an attacker session and alerting defenders to attack. Okay, and the next is software composition, or software supply chain. Okay, it basically focuses on identifying the open source in a code base, so teams can manage their exposure to security and licensing compliance issues. Okay, and yeah, I will supply you the slides. Basically, you can go through the whole information here. Okay, and I'm just giving a high-level overview due to time constraint, and also next one is container and serverless runtime security. Basically, it's a process of implementing tools and processes, processes to ensure that the container and the server infrastructure and the apps and its components are protected across the entire attack surface. Basically, you know, it's just for protecting the container loads, workloads, and also for serverless infrastructure. Okay, and next thing is pre-hook commits, basically pre-commit hooks. Okay, basically pre-commit hook is run first before you even type in a commit message. It is basically used to inspect the snapshot that's about to be committed to see if you have forgotten something, to make sure run test runs, or to examine whatever you need to inspect the code. Okay, and the main goal of pre-commit hook is to improve the quality of commits, and it is basically achieved by making sure your commit meets some formal requirements. Okay, and IDE security plugins. What is a IDE security plugin? Basically, IDE stands for integrated development environment. Basically, it's a software application that provides comprehensive facilities to the developers for software development, basically. And basically, an IDE is used for building applications that combine common developer tools in a single graphical user interface that is also called the GUI. Okay, and next is security management. Okay, security management. In security management, we also call it password management, secret management. Basically, it's also called as password management. Basically, you have this HashiCorp and CyberArk, a lot of these tools. Basically, secret management are the tools and methods for basically managing digital authentication credentials, and that is also called as secrets, which includes passwords, keys, APIs, and tokens used in the applications. Okay, and basically this secret management basically enables the organizations and business units to enforce some level of consistency, consistent security policies, and provides assurance that resources across tool stack, platform, and cloud environments can only be accessed by authorized and authenticated users. Okay, that is developers and production support engineers. Okay, and security in infrastructure as a code. Basically, it is basically a practice of securing cloud infra and app configurations by scanning infrastructure as code files, and the cloud deployment for compliance against a codified rule set, basically. And basically, infrastructure as code scans your infrastructure as code configuration files for any known vulnerabilities. Okay, basically, in my experience, I have seen this scanning supports basically configuration files from Terraforms, Ansible, and also this cloud formation templates, basically in AWS and also on Kubernetes. I've never seen it in Azure, but again, if you are a Azure engineer, you can figure it out. Okay, yeah, I can't comment on that Azure's front. Compliance as a code. Okay, basically compliance as a code, as I said before, it is basically the tools and practices that allows you to embed the 3 core activities, which are like pillars of compliance. You know, in compliance you have 3 things, that is prevent, detect, and remediate. Okay, basically it aims to improve the software development process through automatically demonstrating that new code compliance with the reliant policies and regulations. Okay, and yeah, the biggest examples for these tools are like Chef Inspect and Puppet Comply. Okay, the reason why I'm telling these tools, because I worked on those tools, so I automated a couple of audit and compliance requirements through these tools. Okay, and vulnerability management. Okay, I don't have to tell a lot about vulnerability management. You all security guys know what it is. Okay, but yeah, since the slide is there, I'll just tell what it is. And the vulnerability management is basically a ongoing regular process of identifying, evaluating, reporting, and remediating security vulnerabilities across endpoints and workloads and systems. Okay, and basically it is implemented along with other security tactics, and is vital for organizations to prioritize possible threats and minimizing attack surface. Okay, and you all know there are like 5 stages in vulnerability management lifecycle. Basically, that is assess, prioritize, act, reassess, and improve. I'm not going to go into the detail of it, but yeah, you can figure that out. Okay, and the next slide is alerting and monitoring. Okay, alerting and monitoring are very important. Monitoring is basically needed for two end goals, basically to understand if our security controls are effective, and whatever and wherever we need to improve, we can basically implement monitoring tools. And to basically, it's also to test security controls effectiveness. When did an attack occur? Was it blocked or not? What level of access was achieved? What data was bought in and bought out? Okay. And asset monitoring. What is asset monitoring? Asset monitoring is basically a process of tracking physical assets remotely using specialized hardware and software. Basically, most asset monitoring solutions are based on IoT technologies to provide accurate real-time information on asset name, location, and status, and also help. It also basically helps for schedule maintenance and notify managers about asset failures. Okay, it's not just about the application or the code. Basically, it's also about you have these laptops in the company. Basically, if that laptop basically falls in the hands of a bad actor, basically it can cause a lot of damage to an organization. You know, you have a lot of these important data in laptops and other stuff, and it also can open some loopholes. Okay, it can basically they can be used for attack or something like that. Okay, and security and compliance tools. Basically, I'm not going to go in detail of it. Basically, I already discussed about DAST, SAST, and IAST and SCA. Basically, these are some tools. I'll provide you this pack which you can go through. Basically, you can go through that. And here are some examples of security and compliance tools. Okay, Checkmarx, SonarQube, NetSparkle, and JFrog, X-Ray, and AccuTMX, and Nexus, and Prisma Cloud. Okay, these are some tools which can be used for those security practices which I mentioned earlier. And for implementing these security and compliance tools, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money, and basically you can basically use a lot of open source tools to start with. Okay, we just need to use as engineering and technology managers. Basically, you just need to implement tools which bring value to the business, and also the tools should align with the business needs. You don't have to spend a lot of dollars. You can spend the dollars on something else. Okay, so yeah, you don't necessarily have to use some branded tools. There are a lot of open source tools. Okay, and these are some examples of the tools. Okay, so you have some threat modeling tools, pre-commit hooks, and SCA and SAS scanners, and IDE plugins, and secret management tools. I wantedly kept some of the open source tools and a mix of other tools as well. And these are in continuation of the before. Basically, there are vulnerability management, DAST, and security and infrastructure as code, compliance as code, and WAF, all this. And this is a sample implementation of a Java program where these security controls, along with the tools, this is just a simple, simplistic flow. Yeah, can just go through that. I also kept some. I found this on the internet. You also have a sort of YouTube. It basically explains how it works. Okay. And okay, in Devsecops to be or not to be in the pipeline. Okay, here are some points which I think I raised here. That is the API command line access. Execution starts to final output should be 15 minutes max, and tools should be containerizable and scriptable. And I don't think this is the right word, but still I just used it. And minimal license limitation. Okay, and parallel scans or threads, and output format possible, and machine readable, no to standouts, and yes to JSON and XML. Okay, configurable to counter false negative and false positives. Okay, and pipeline optimization. Okay, and there are various ways you can do that. Pipelines to be tweaked based on milestones. That is, you have these initiatives, epics, and stories in your Jira. Okay, and any tool you use, like for ticketing. Okay, and remember, initial onboarding is tedious, and ensure dataset dependent tools get frequent data refresh, and sample optimization, only CSS changes, no need for SCA. Okay, and only form.xml or Gradle changes, no need of SAS. And if infrastructure as code has 0 changes, skip or fast track infrascan. Okay, and ensure to run full pipeline periodically, not optimized, obviously. And does programming language matter? No, it doesn't. Basically, you can build your application in any language, and different programming languages needs different tools for static analysis and for SCA purposes. And some tools support multiple languages. For example, SonarQube is one of them. I use SonarQube a bit, and others are focused on one language. Okay. These are some language specific tools which I mentioned. Again, I don't endorse any of it. They are just there as example. Okay, and preference should be always given to open source tools. Okay. These are just examples of Devsecops labs, basically, and this is for Ruby. I worked on Ruby a bit. Okay, and this is for PHP, which I worked, and Python. Yeah, the ones which I have worked, I kept it here. So that way I can explain you better as well. And JS Node as well. It's mostly we use it for mini apps. And okay, what about cloud? Okay, these are, with the advent of DevOps, actually you also need to monitor your cloud instances. Okay, because the threat landscape always changes, and you also need to monitor, you also need to manage your identity and access management, asset inventory, and billing. There are a lot of tools to manage this stuff. Okay, I just kept open source tools here, but there are many ways you can monitor it. And infrastructure as code allows quick audit and linting, and focus more on security groups, permissions to resources, and also monitor your rogue and shadow admins. Basically, there are just clean up your users on regular basis. You know, because there will be a lot of employees who will be employees or contractors who will be leaving the organizations. Just to make sure that you clean up, you audit and clean up those users, basically admin users, and forgotten resources. Okay, like compromises and billings. And also you also need to make sure that your cloud billing is in control. Basically, just monitor it. And that's part of the FinOps model. Okay. And, okay. cloud native approach to security. Okay, and as you know, different security providers approach security in a different way, and all of them provide some of the ingredients in-house. Irrespective of the cloud providers, some tools will still needs to be sourced. That is the SAS scanners, DAS scanners, and SCA scanners, and vulnerability management scanners, basically. Okay, and here is one article which I found very interesting about security along SDLC for cloud native apps. Okay, they have used a very this is an interesting thing which I have found. I will pass on the slide. You can have a look. Basically, this is a very classic SDLC way the application is deployed here, the cloud native app. So you can go through it, and it has been basically mapped with different security scanning practices and different tools. Okay, and I also provided some links here. You can have a look at it. Okay. Yeah, actually I kept some. These links are very active. You can just click on it and you can basically browse through it. Okay, and this is the example AWS Cloud Native DevOps, which I've worked before. But you can, because I found this diagram online, you can just go through this YouTube video and you can have a demo of it. Okay. And these are some of the comparisons for cloud native DevOps tools. Basically, every cloud provider has their own comparison basically to do. And this is the conventional infra, and you have this AWS, Azure, and GCP. Okay. And these are some case studies which I took it from some of the references while I was preparing for this presentation. Okay, there is a very nice book by Jim Berg, that is the DevOpsSec. It's called DevOpsSec, not the Devsecops. So it's he explained it very nicely. So I thought I should keep it here. So just go through this once. It's a very he explained it in a very nice way. And this is Devsecops according to one of these vendors called Contino. Okay, and Devsecops according to Accenture. And I also kept a link to it. You can go through that one. And this is Devsecops according to AWS. Basically, there are two of them. I can vouch for this because I worked on DevOps extensively. So yeah. Okay, is it enough? Yeah, again, security, sometimes you can keep as much control as you can, but sometimes incidents do happen. Rite of passage by periodic penetration testing and continuous bug bounty should happen. Basically, it's not just important to get feedback, but also to action them. Because in most organizations, what they do is basically when there is a risk, they just create a risk record and they basically manage the risk or they accept the risk. What I feel is that risk acceptance documentation should be the last resort, and it should be the last. It should be the worst case scenario, but not the first thing. You try to, as DevOps or DevSecOps engineers, you should basically strive to fix an issue at the very beginning itself. Okay, so yeah, risk acceptance or risk managing stuff is the last resort you do. Okay. Until unless there is a sort of budget issue or something. Okay. Okay. DevSecOps or DevSecOps, basically. Okay. Yeah, what we have to do is, the questions are basically, did we secure the security controls? Okay. If the attacker basically controls security tools or builds a chain, it has limitless power. And in no time, it basically turns into a Devsecops moment. You know, you don't want to get into a sort of embarrassing situation. when a security attack happens, and ensure same practice is followed back again for the tools. Security role doesn't mean you get to circumvent the rules, and follow basic security hygiene. We always keep talking about it. That is basically security configurations, patching policies, and keep your cloud instances patched all the time, and also your applications. Especially the best example is the Log4j stuff. It is not far. We know that most of the organizations have Log4j vulnerability, and they fix those patches. I think still some organizations has those problems, but they are still managing it through risk management and other stuff. Okay. Key takeaways, basically. Okay. Again, as security, as I told in the very beginning, it should be, security is a cultural thing. It's a mindset. Okay, security is everyone's responsibility, and embrace security as an internal part of the process. Use feedback to refine the process. And as I said before, Devsecops is not a one-size-fits-all. Your mileage will vary. Okay, and the next step. Yeah, these are some of the references which I used for preparing this presentation. Okay, and also some of the experiences. And any questions? Okay, I'm done with my presentation, and yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Khwaja. So this is Vishnu here. I just had one question. So you touched upon change management area. So I just had one question there. So
Yes.
what is your thought in that area? So there is there a difference when we do the security controls implementation, or when we audit security controls in change management area? What is the difference, or what should we be actually looking at in DevOps or DevSecOps environment compared to what we had traditionally before, right? We were working in silos, change operations team, and then dev team, and then there was a build team. So they were working in silos, but
Yes.
now everything is integrated. So
Yes.
how is that change management and then those controls getting into picture? Can you share some thought on that?
Yeah, see, that is not going to change. Basically, you need these idle processes in place. Okay, for example, even when a system goes down, you still, even though it is a SRE team or a DevOps team, they still follow the same process, incident management process. And even if we have to implement a security control, like for example, implementing a WAF, or even updating a SSL, or even making changes to the code, you still use change management process, and change management process is the key. But again, what happens in these idle processes is that sometimes it creates a sort of red tape. That red tape needs to be avoided. That's what I feel. So yeah, and also most of the time, what happens with these idle processes is that there is a bit of a, I won't say a blame game, but there is a lot of finger pointing towards one person. That basically needs to stop. Basically, DevOps and DevSecOps basically create that culture, and basically it more emphasizes on stopping that issue to occur once again, as much as we can. Okay, but still these processes will remain, Vishnu. They are not going to go away, because if their processes are there, they are there for a reason, right? You need to have, because this change management process, if you don't have a change management process, people go about deploying something or making changes to the system, right? So they make unauthorized changes. Without that, if you need to have those controls in place to keep tap of it, Yeah. So does it answer my question? answered your question?
Yes, Khwaja. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Okay. KP? Yeah. If we don't have any questions, I think we can wind up.
I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Khwaja. So if there are no other questions, I would like to invite Vishnu for delivering vote of thanks. Vishnu?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, KP. First of all, thank you so much, Khwaja. First of all, I would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to you, Khwaja, for delivering a great session today. And thank you for your very interesting and insightful knowledge sharing. It was great to hear ideas on DevOps, DevSecOps, because you really gave a basics on that, and then you moved into that complex areas. You made sure to convey the complex topic in simple ways. That's what I was actually feeling personally, and definitely the wider group over here also will have the same thought on that. And moreover, I felt it very great to hear that thought that, okay, DevSecOps is a mindset and it's not a framework. Even I was in a different assumption, like, okay, this is going to be something different. But when you said that it's a mindset and it's a culture change which we have to bring in, which is a great thought. Thank you for bringing that awareness to us and to this group.
Yep. Thank you
so much.
Thank you. And
okay.
thank you. And thank you, ISACA Trivandrum. Basically, I would say this is my first presentation. I had never presented to a big audience. So yeah, and thanks KP and George Kurian as well. Okay, and thanks ISACA Trivandrum. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all audience who actually took time during this weekend and then attending the session. And lastly, great thanks to ISACA Trivandrum, especially Georgie and then KP, who make sure that we have these great sessions well organized with great speakers who come with a lot of knowledge. Thank you so much, team.
Yeah, thanks all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Have a nice weekend. Take care. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.